So we've all seen the hate everywhere across how TikTok ruins your attention span, over-sexualizes underage children, but worst of all, how TikTok has ruined fashion. Now you see, I feel like there's two sides to this coin because yes, even though TikTok has caused this, TikTok has also opened up the world of fashion to an entire new community of people, making it so much more accessible and digestible to the common folk that allows the growth and progression of new styles and niche groups that we've never ever seen before take place. TikTok especially is a huge driver in the rise and fall of certain fashion trends, and while there's still natural growth outside social media for a lot of the fads and hype in the fashion community, you can't deny the impact these social media apps have on our perception of specific trends and aesthetics. But of all the trends we've seen come and go, which ones were the best and which ones were the ones that should have never happened? This video we're going to rank some of the trends and aesthetics we've seen in fashion, and first up is going to be a big hitter, and that's going to be Gorpcore. Gorpcore really exploded into popularity during 2022. This was a style that took over all our explore feeds, our For You pages for months on end. I personally think it was quite a refreshing change in styling when this first started to pop, as it was nice to get away from those hype streetwear looks or the wacky avant-garde fashion. I think people are still surprised at the longevity of Gorpcore because while it's not obnoxiously everywhere in your face now, it's definitely still solidified itself in the space as its own respectable fashion niche. And so saying that, I'm gonna give Gorpcore an A tier. Now let's talk the Stussy 8-ball fleece. And I know you motherfuckers have seen this around, and if not, I'm gonna show it to you now. Now I love the idea of fleece being used and styled in my outerwear. The volume and the fuzzy texture makes it such a nice piece, it's so cozy. But if you didn't know, quick fact, 9 times out of 10, fleece is actually synthetic fabric, so you're not actually getting that real stuff. But regardless, I don't know what it is about the 8-ball print that got you guys acting crazy, but this fleece was retailing for a crazy amount. Some of this can be attributed to momentum and the resurgence in popularity we're seeing for Stussy now. Like, the hype for this shit is almost what Supreme used to be back in the day. Saying all of that, I do really fuck with fleece in general, and while I'm still sitting here thinking what the fuck is so special about this 8-ball print, I can definitely appreciate a loud print and unique design philosophy with the contrast of a minimalist front and a loud back. So I'm gonna put this in A tier. Next up is Businesscore, the aesthetic for all my guys who want to roleplay working their favorite corporate 9-to-5. This might just be the premature eagerness for adulthood we all have in our youth, but I always kind of found this aesthetic funny, to see dudes in their teens rocking button-up ties and their trench coats and briefcases. Like, nigga, where are you going? Where are you wearing that tie to? I know you literally had science class this morning. Now, this isn't hating on dressing dapper or a little more formal time to time. I'm all for that. I talk my shit about you guys needing a solid pair of dress shoes every day, but I'm more so talking about these fits here with these big ass earphones, these muffs on everyone's Businesscore fits. Like, what are you listening to there, buddy? 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene? Get out of here. I get the idea of Businesscore, and I appreciate that it's introducing people to these less grounded forms of sophisticated dressing with a bit more diversity. So I also like that it keeps the professional slant in there, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. Now, pearls. This one might fall under the soft boy aesthetic, which I'll speak about later on, but I wanted to kind of address this one on its own because this shit was so infectious when the trend was back in its prime. And let's not cap here, we all either had one of these or we wanted one of these, and I'm not afraid to admit it. But saying all of that, this trend literally had no longevity and got overplayed and cringed very quick. I don't know if it's because it attracted a certain type of dude, or if constantly seeing this on your For You page and Instagram feeds just really killed the shelf life of this. But I'm gonna have to say, honestly, this respectfully goes in D tier. Next up, let's talk about Nike Dunks. I know, you guys are probably expecting me to start hating on these because they were hella popular and kind of obnoxious to a certain point, but while I am tired of them to a certain degree, as a shoe, I generally think they're a pretty timeless design, and if I'm keeping it real, I like my Dunks better than my Jordans, so I'm gonna have to rate this one an A tier on the list.
This can't be life. It can't be life that I'm sitting right here, right now, because back when I was in 7th grade, I wouldn't have ever fathomed really being on this side of the screen.
Now, the sweet 2000s. Something about this era just brings a devout sense of nostalgia and romanticism for the younger generation. But Y2K has been coming back hard in fashion the last couple of years with rhinestones, low-rise jeans, bandanas, and those evocative designs arising. Every single little startup streetwear brand is milking this aesthetic for sale. You even see this shit templated down to a specific formula. You always hear about fashion being cyclical in nature, and we've been seeing the 90s and 2000s style go strong for the last 2 decades at least. 2000s is here to stay in the fashion scene. For our generation, the 2000s is priceless. I mean, everything about this era was blessed. The cartoons, the music, the anime. I don't blame anyone for idolizing the 2000s, and the fashion even more so. So I'm gonna have to put Y2K fashion in base tier. Next, we got New Balances, and you know what? First up, let's give a round of applause for our brother New Balance, because I don't know how they did it, but they clawed themselves away from that corny reputation of being a boomer dad shoe. They found a certain addictive appeal with those trendy fashion kids, and not only the 550s, but everyone's been loving the 990s, 530s, 2002s, all of that's going off. It might just be amazing timing that New Balance started to capitalize on this growing nostalgia fashion's been having for the dad shoe and all things retro, and this kind of started with the Balenciaga Triple S and it's gone even further now with Balenciaga Runners. But I swear, it's so crazy to see people talk about New Balance in the same conversations as other hype shoes. Some of these New Balances even resell for the same goofy prices as other mainstay sneakers, so I'm gonna have to put these New Balances in B tier. Next up, we got Vampcore. Base tier, base tier, base tier, base tier. Now on to the next. Okay, let me be serious here, because I know most of my jokes fly over all of your heads, right? But if Cardi is rocking this Vampcore look, base tier. But literally anyone else, this shit looks mad cringe. I'm sorry to say it, Timmy, but those skinny leather pants and those rigs do not just make you look weird as fuck, okay? So all jokes aside, Vampcore's gonna have to go in C tier. Next, let's talk about these. This might be less a trend and more like a micro fad amongst these influencers for clout, because I swear there's no way you fashion motherfuckers think this shit looks good outside of your choreographed pictures. Though I won't lie, these did look pretty kawaii when Lana Rose wore them, but besides that, this is probably more so a fad, so I doubt this shit will even be relevant. Probably not even relevant when I make this video, right? But hell, I'ma just say honestly, let's put this in C tier. Next, let's talk about the Adidas Sambas, the shoe that gained some traction last year, especially being propped off by the help of Gorpcore in the World Cup, bringing soccer to more eyes. Now, if I'm being honest, I kinda hated on these shoes off the jump, just because I'm a hating ass nigga. You guys already know that, right? But after seeing these in person and getting to really appreciate the simple silhouette and design, I actually fuck with these as a nice alternative to your Air Forces, your Converses, your Jordans, all that type of stuff. It's a simple, casual shoe that's not too overstated, but it's interesting enough to bring some highlights to your outfit. So this is gonna go in a B tier for me. Now this is probably another case of one of those trends looking cool and quirky online, but absolutely strange in person. I don't know about you, but I'm not approaching no bitch with scales or clam ears in person, bro. Like, this is like the horse scale turned up to the extreme. Now, playing devil's advocate, as a form of art and creative expression, I do think it's a cool aesthetic, capturing the serene aquatic beauty of mermaids in like a more toned down setting. But again, this is sort of that shit that works more as playful creativity than like a serious fashion trend or aesthetic. So I guess that really brings the point to, what do we judge the merits of certain looks and aesthetics by? Like, do we really care about versatility anymore? Like, are we more so about pushing boundaries and making interesting statements with the clothes, or do we more care about practicality and longevity? That could actually be a good video idea. Anyway, let's get back to the ranking, and with everything said, Mermaidcore is gonna have to go in D tier. Now next, we're gonna talk about Cottagecore, and I actually had to look this one up because I had no idea what this shit was. So turns out Cottagecore is like an aesthetic around the type of rural and farm looks with like a lot of tweed, and just picture like a simple, cozy life. So this little aesthetic came into full force around 2020 with the whole stay-at-home initiative and the pandemic going on. Lots of nature-colored hues, knits, and baggy clothing. Literally think of Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. I mean, a lot of the materials here are pretty comfy and cozy, and I do appreciate that, right? So okay, let's be honest here. I'll give this one a C tier. And that's gonna be the entire list, my homies. Let me know what you think and drop your favorite trends or aesthetics I might have missed, right? I still read every single comment of these videos, so if you drop something on here, I hope you know I've probably seen it. Also, if you're this far in, like the damn video, okay? But anyway, I'll see you guys next time.